This is the Happen to Your Career podcast with Scott Anthony Barlow.
We help you stop doing work that doesn't fit you, figure out what does, and make it happen.
We help you define the work that is unapologetically you and then go get it.
If you feel like you were meant for more and you're ready to make a change, keep listening.
Here's Scott.
Here's Scott.
Here's Scott.
Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. I love this quote. It's pretty well known, and many times it's credited to Mark Twain. I don't know who actually said it, but it makes a pretty timeless point. Any time you find that almost everyone is behaving in a certain way or doing something, that is where opportunity can be created. Almost every time. That's where the opportunities are buried. And right now, this time of the year is where we get one of the most common questions that I wanted to try and answer on this episode here. And people ask, hey, are the holidays a good time to career change or job search or, go through any type of transition whatsoever? Essentially, should I not even bother? Or, is it like, what is actually happening during the holiday season? And this question comes up because almost everyone pauses their job search during the holidays. We all know many companies tend to slow down hiring or slow down hiring activities, I guess I should say. Not necessarily stop altogether during the holiday season. This happens naturally because many employees, recruiters, whoever is driving the particular processes are not always there. So what's the point? Here is the thing that you may not have considered. This could actually be one of the very best times to make your move. Whether it is, switching industries, whether it is going after a higher paying job, whether you are trying to find your ideal situation and make a career change, whatever it is, this is a wonderful time to be able to reach people, not all people, but some people that otherwise are not available. Okay. So I'm going to go through 3 different particular reasons why starting your job search or starting a career transition during the holidays is not just a good idea. Often it can be a strategic advantage. All right. Number 1, less competition. I implied that here just a few sentences ago. When most people who are trying to change jobs, job seeking, whatever it is, when most people hit pause for the holidays because they assume nobody's doing anything, it creates an opportunity because all of a sudden, all that competition just goes away. And I'm not just talking about job search competition. I'm talking about competition for people's time and attention. I'll expand more on that here in just a minute. But people assume hiring slows down, and that's not untrue, but it doesn't mean that absolutely no one is getting hired. And it also doesn't mean that the work that you put in now will be wasted. In fact, it may be even more valuable. By going against the belief of the majority, when when you're trying to reach someone, let's say, however you're trying to get your foot in the door, whether it is you're trying to contact a particular VP or you are trying to get an email read, whatever it is, often, especially as we get into the holiday season, all kinds of people are taking time off, which means that, yes, there is the risk that the person you're trying to get a hold of will be off or unavailable. But also, the other thing that happens is there is a disruption from the normal. Lots of people aren't there, so certain meetings aren't happening. You don't have necessarily the same day and weekly routines. And often what I've found, especially now that nobody else is trying to reach this person in the same way, that creates additional opportunity. So this is, by the way, this is not necessarily just true for job search and holidays. What I found is this is true for almost any situation where everyone is behaving a certain way, like we started this episode with. Okay, but think about your own workload during the holidays. There's usually, depending on the industry, and I understand there's exceptions, but generally for many people, there's usually fewer emails flooding in inboxes. And this could be your time to shine, to differentiate. Think about it. This is the easiest time of year for some people that you want to reach out to, or anyone who could help you in your search for more meaningful work. Which, by the way, this brings us to reason number 2, which is easier access to people. During the holidays, people's schedules often slow down. Hiring managers, VPs, recruiters, really anyone and everyone that typically is getting overwhelmed with all kinds of requests may actually have more time to respond to an email, a phone call, or a LinkedIn message, or any other way that you're trying to reach out to them. Okay, here's another bonus. Research suggests that people tend to be happier during the holidays. You probably know that to be true. This is the time of year where reflecting, looking forward to festivities, spending time with family, focusing on gratitude, all of which makes people more approachable. All right. So is this exclusively true for every person in every industry, every situation? No, of course not. However, we're not looking for exclusivity. We're just looking for small opportunities here. So maybe you've been trying to get in touch with somebody for months and been unsuccessful. Right now, they might be less busy. They might be more responsive and potentially in a better mood. So while others wind down to enjoy the season, you could be building relationships that will pay off in the new year. And of course, what everybody always is thinking in the back of their mind, but hold on, but companies aren't hiring now, so why bother? Which brings us to a third and final point here. You can get ahead of hiring in quarter one. Okay. Well, it's true that some companies slow down hiring during the holidays. We've already acknowledged that. They are often still making their plans and finalizing plans for the new fiscal year. Budgets are being finalized, new roles being identified, decisions being made about what to prioritize in January or whenever their fiscal year begins. Okay. Or maybe some of those decisions have already been made, which allows them to be able to have different visibility to what might be coming in the new year, which is another advantage. So if you start now, you're positioning yourself for when they actually start hiring. When budgets open up, when hiring ramps up in January, you've already made the first move. You've already started to build a relationship. You've already positioned yourself. You're already in the conversation. It creates a very different opportunity. Really, what you're doing, if you start reaching out now, you're engineering the right situation to, if you decide you want to work with this organization, then you're in a better position to do so because you'll already be in the conversation when those roles officially open up. By the time other people start applying, you're already there. Like you've already made the first move, and they've already talked to the recruiter to have them pull your resume sometimes before the role have even opened up in one way or another. So you've already positioned yourself. You're already in that conversation. Now, when I'm talking about reaching out, I'm not just talking about applying to jobs. If you've listened to this podcast for very long, you are probably aware, because we've got many episodes on this, that many times the best ways to create work that fits you and to get exceptions made for you is by first and foremost, of course, understanding what it is that you want and then going after what you want. But then once you're at that point, building relationships can be a huge key in order to get exceptions made for you or to go in through the back door. Okay, so you never know who's going to be hiring in the first quarter. We don't want you to wait for job postings to go live. Start building those relationships now, contacting not just hiring managers, but people who you want to work with, want to find out more about their organization or them, even somebody in your network. who works at the company that you're targeting and interested in, your timing here can make all the difference. Use this slower season to your advantage. So hopefully this helps make the point that when everybody else is stopping, the holidays could be the perfect time to make a move and take advantage of tiny opportunities that allow you to move towards your version of more ideal work and simultaneously get ahead of everybody else. And by the way, as always, if making a change to a more meaningful career is something that you want to start taking steps on, that's awesome. We would love to help support you any way that we possibly can. And I also want to fill you in on some of the end of the year statistics. We know from working with career changers over the last 10 years, what we found is that those people who we see begin doing the work to make a career change in November, December, actually move faster in their career change for total time, about 1 to 2 months faster compared to the people who start on that work and, end up beginning to work with us in, like January or February. We get every year, not a surprise to you, but we get a huge rush of people that are interested in making a change and interested in working with us. And we'll of course, help anybody that comes at that time, but everybody's trying to come at that time. So the main reason we see this difference is because of taking advantage of opportunities like we talked about at the beginning of this episode. If you hit the ground running in the new year versus just leisurely starting to gear up, then it makes a massive difference in overall total time. So I would encourage you to begin to lay the groundwork now. Feel free to reach out to us, reach out to our team to see how we can help. You can just email me directly, scott@happentoyourcareer.com, put conversation in the subject line, and I will connect you to the right person on our team, and we will connect up with you and have a conversation to figure out how we can very best help support you, your goals, and where you want to go. And again, if you decide to wait till the new year, that's fine too. Just know we might be a bit backlogged. We're still be excited, but if you want to finish ahead of the rush, go ahead and email me, Scott@happentoyourcareer, with conversation in the subject line. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, adios. I am out.